power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution. Join me, Naima Latif, every morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as we bring you stimulating discussions about the issues affecting our lives. If you're listening online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution, press the blue button that says follow and get our daily topics every morning directed to your email and your smartphone. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, executive producer of the Female Solution radio show. We invite you to call in 515-605-9325 and participate in this daily think tank as we examine the challenges we face and develop solutions that restore peace and harmony. We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Sangadet. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Have you ever dreamed of going to exotic places, fascinating people, enjoying uplifting music, and spending nights in a luxurious hotel? Do you look forward to a relaxing vacation where you can walk along the beach or sit in a quiet park and enjoy the sunset or sunrise? Whether you're flying around the world or driving across the country, we will share travel tips that will help you stay safe while you enjoy the journey. Join me every third Saturday of the month, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, and move around with Deborah here on the Female Solution Show. Call in and comment 515-605-9325 and press 1 to speak.
Yes. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. You are here at a fabulous place. I mean, where else could you be right now but right here? Moving around with me, Deborah. Here, we want to bring you uplifting opportunities and information on travel, because it looks like that's what everybody is doing now, traveling. I mean, have you not traveled somewhere in the last 6 months? I mean, I travel every day. And because I love travel, I find myself transfixed daily somewhere else other than my office. I'm across the country or around the world, visiting green pastures or bustling cities, or on many different modes of transportation, in concerts, museums, all kinds of exercise classes. I even do a little skiing. knowing that I am definitely about spectator sports. I am an avid spectator sport person. But these are some of the things, just to name a few, that I involve myself, I immerse myself in on a regular basis. Because again, I say I love to travel. And sometimes we are not able to afford the opportunity to travel. And that's for many different reasons. Some it could be because of time, it could be because of obligations, and of course, it's monetary situations. We all have challenges in each one of those, and not all at the same time. But let me tell you, I'm here to let you know that we can work around everything. Every challenge that you may come up with, we have a solution. There is a solution. Not we have, you have the solution. We just have to tap in and share with you the opportunities of you learning about it. So I again am glad and appreciative, honored that you are here with us today. We certainly hope that you invited someone else to join in. I want to make sure that you have a voice in this conversation. So if you can call in 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak. Yes, you can be part of this show too. You don't have to be the background. You can give your information, your tidbits. We can learn from a lot of different scenarios. Or if you have a scenario that you are just perplexed on what is going on and how can you solve that. Here at the Female Solution and Moving Around with me, Deborah, we're going to figure this stuff out. So again, have your pen, your paper, write down your questions, your concerns, your ideas. You may not even tap into us. It may be just something that we never speak, we never interact, but something that's going to be said is going to provide you an opportunity that you never thought you could have had otherwise. So again, reach out, call in, grab a friend and a pen. We want to see you here. And as they all say, I'm not really quite sure, but they say like, share, subscribe, and love. Love is the key. So today's conversation, we know that the seasons are changing. Our thoughts of who we are, what we want to be, and how we want to get there vary, which each individual, and even within our individual selves, it varies, it fluctuates. I remember so long ago, my sister told me, when you have children, they're all going to be different. Each child, each year is going to be different. There's nothing that's going to be the same. There's no repeat. You just have to prepare. So prepare yourself. And with travel, you have to prepare yourself. Even, your plan to come here today, you had to prepare yourself. So we're a big staunch on preparation. Proper preparations prevent poor performance. I love it. My friend, who is no longer here, but we still continue his life and legacy and love, and talk about that proper preparation prevents poor performance. That's something that you can live on. Before we go any further, I want to state and restate that 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline. This lifeline is so important, and they've made it easier for you to reach out. We all go through something every now and then again. And there are peripherals that are set up to help you get through it. please utilize the opportunities that you have to reach out. And then if you know of someone who is going through some challenges, maybe you can just share this information with them, reach out to them, give them a hug. Sometimes a smile and a hug will help. You know, there are some essential tips that we talk about in travel, and you must learn the basics and repeat. You remember practice makes perfect? Yes, practice makes perfect. That's something that we do. So don't just do it one time and think everything is supposed to be all perfect. It's not. You have to practice at it, and you have to tune it. Yes, you have to tune it. So learning to say hello, even if it's just a smile. Now that we don't always have to wear our mask, although I still have my mask. And in some situations, I will put my mask on, but we still can smile, even in under our mask, because our eyes are sharing that smile. Say yes or no, please, thank you, excuse me, pardon me. You know how you're walking down the aisle and you're crossing in front of someone who might be standing back reading something, or you might go in between two people talking, you know, that are not standing close together. You know, say, excuse me, pardon me, or something of that nature. Even if you're in a foreign country and all you speak is English, you can still say it, and most often folks will understand. And when they say it to you or don't say it to you, don't get bent out all of the shape. If somebody crosses in front of you and you think that that was a disrespect, they're gone. It's okay. We're going to get more disrespected. I hear about disrespect all day long. You know, when you're in the media, you hear about craziness, and you have to let it go. Smile, wave. Be careful not to be too friendly, because there is a challenging with trafficking. That's something else I want you to be on the forefront of understanding. Trafficking. When folks, men, women, boys, girls, young adults, older adults, doesn't matter what you look like, what size you are, people are still taking people for devious reasons. So you have to be careful. Be aware of your surroundings. We talked about having a pen and paper, taking photographs. Now, remember, everybody doesn't want to be photographed. Some people are in the witness protection program, so you don't want to photograph them. You got to be careful with that. If you're in a location and you're not quite sure what the people are saying, there's always Google Translate. Google is amazing. I don't know if Google's always the best, but even now with this chat group thing that's coming out, we have to be aware of everything, and don't get annoyed about things that are going to blow up. You don't have to take on your coattail every challenge. Say it again. Sometimes you have to repeat. Sometimes people really don't hear, and they're not ignoring you. They just didn't hear you, or their mind was somewhere else. They're not paying attention. So don't take it at heart. You know, repeat it. Excuse me. Did you hear me? And you can still say it with a smile. Excuse me, pardon me. So these are some very essential communication tips that you can use in life, not just in travel, but of course, that's what we do here. We travel. So now, weather. I always like, you know, this segment, we talk about weather, we talk about transportation, communication. Weather. Oh my goodness. The weather across the country is out of control in most cases. You hear about all the devastation, and I tell you that the West Coast is either raining, mudslides, or fires, and they've gotten so much water lately. So our prayers go out to everyone all across the country and around the world that are going through challenges with the weather. Even in Madagascar, the same storm is continuing. And I talked about this same storm last month, and that same torrential rain and whatnot is still going on. I predict this year we're going to have some challenging weather coming through hurricane. Our hurricane season, it starts when it wants to start. It should be from May to November, but it's actually. But now I don't want you to hinder yourself from traveling, afraid that there's going to be a storm during your travel time. You still travel. You just prepare. You prepare yourself. If you know that there's going to be a challenge, you get ready. You don't go. You have that insurance in case you have to cancel. You're not comfortable.
Yeah,
You have that insurance. Yeah, for a minute.
Did we ever talk about what happened? I'm sorry. When you mentioned hurricanes, I'm trying to think. Did we ever talk about what people should do if where they're living is suddenly given a warning, like a flood warning or a tornado or hurricane warning? Like if you have to suddenly travel because you've gotten a warning that your area is about to, it's projected that your area is going to be destroyed. Did we ever?
We never really got involved in that, but that's all part of preparation.
Yeah, because there I think Katrina, maybe a couple other places, when I would hear that people didn't leave even after they were told that they had to evacuate, and I'm always thinking, but why did you choose to stay? And then sometimes some people don't have anywhere they can go, or maybe don't have a vehicle. They don't. I mean, I just
it was a lot of things. As a matter of fact, I happened to be in New Orleans a week before Katrina actually hit, and we were warned then the storm was coming, and we were scrambling to make sure that we were out of there. And a lot of people stayed because they had no means of transportation to get away. They had nowhere to go. They didn't believe, because you hear of storms all the time. Katrina, that region, there's a storm every year. So if they were to pack up and leave every year, they might not have anything to come back to.
Yeah. Looters, the people who use these opportunities to steal. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's many reasons why folks did not go. And it's unfortunate that so many lost their lives.
Yeah.
In that situation. So I can't answer that. I know, like I said, we were there for a convention, a travel convention. Matter of fact, that's how long I've been in travel. And we were like, we're getting out of here. Yeah. Some people wanted to stay a little longer.
I don't know why people would take a chance. I think people, if they've never been in a disaster where they've seen the power of nature, they may just not believe it's possible that everything that's standing now can be blown away, washed away, burnt down. I think it's something inside of them says, "Oh, that can't happen."
Yeah, but it can happen. It can happen in wherever, whomever's on this call. It could happen in your area. Yeah. I know we're in the Midwest, and we're on an earthquake fault.
Yeah, I think there
We
was
can have a major earthquake. We have tornadoes all the
Yeah,
time.
we have tornadoes all the time. Yeah, I remember those tornadoes growing up. And I mean, when you're a child, everything is a fun adventure because nobody got hurt afterwards. We'd hear the warnings, and my neighbors who didn't have a basement, they'd come down to our basement. We'd all be,
Yeah.
sitting out here waiting out the storm, and we hear the thunder and lightning, and whoo, and it's fun because you're a child. You got your friends over here, in the basement having fun while you're waiting on the tornado to pass. So
But yeah.
I never had I mean, there were times it got really, really windy, but and then you get up the next day and trees and everything been blown down. But I never knew of anybody that got hurt. So for me, someone actually being hurt, injured, or even killed in an act of nature, it just wasn't a reality to me. And I'm thinking a lot of people, if they've never experienced it to that severe level, they may not really believe it can happen to them. And so they would take a risk and say, oh, we've had storms before. Yeah, we'll wait it out. No, we're not leaving. And just choose to stay.
Yeah, but they can't. Oh, we have a comment here from Zelda, our Monday morning mindfulness, and our youth. If you have the youth, I think between 13
and 19.
and 19 who have a talent, whether they're just starting out or they have a passion for something, talk to us. Make sure that they send in a video.
That 1 minute video clip on put it on a YouTube channel and send it to Higher Learning Network TV.
Yes,
you definitely need to
send it in. We want to see, these children, they are our future, first of all. And they have a wealth of ideas going on in their mind, and we have to allow them to utilize those ideas and showcase those ideas. And you never know. I look at the robotics. I'm a little weird. I look at the little robotics and how the children put the robots together.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah. So grand rising to you as well, beautiful queen. Happy Woman's Her Story Day. And of course, as I said, we're off. No telling wherever you want to be.
Yeah, I know one of our sisters, one of our sisters just got back from Costa Rica.
Yes.
So she had some fun in the sun.
And do you know that I was right there in Costa Rica with her virtually?
Yes, I could feel the heat virtually.
Yes. I mean, you can do it. So wherever you want to go, wherever you aspire to go, and that's something that I encourage people to do. Whenever you have an idea of something, research it before you go. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Because I was talking to what day was that? Wednesday. Our guest was from Ghana.
Ghana.
She's living in Ghana.
Yes.
She's left America and gone to Ghana. We talked about that whole thing of relocating and going far, far away, like overseas, and what that's like when you go someplace, like you were saying, research.
You need to research, and if you are a little bougie, understand that the United States, you have certain opportunities in the United States that are not affordable to you in other places. So if your idea of camping out is at the Holiday Inn, you're not going to do well in other countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you go to those resorts in the Caribbean and all those beautiful places, when you come off of those resorts, life is a little different. And I want you to recognize that. Recognize that and pay attention. I hear so many folks saying, I'm going to leave the United States. I just can't take it. And I'm going to go somewhere else. Well,
Yeah.
You need to pay attention.
Well,
I'm just saying.
I remember,
Do your research.
well, when I first read Barack Obama's book, Dreams from My Father, and he talked about the first time he went to Kenya, and he's on this crowded bus, and it's people had like, not just themselves, the animals on there, the chickens and stuff. And so a lady had to put her chicken on his lap. But we complain about the CTA, but at least ain't nobody putting a live chicken on your lap.
Oh, talk about the CTA. Hello, today is Transit Driver Appreciation Day.
Really? Wow.
Every March 18th.
Give your bus driver a $5 tip.
Or something.
Yeah.
Do they still do that? They would really appreciate it.
Yeah.
The transportation people they go through a whole lot. I mean, I'm sure if you ride public transportation, you see some of the challenges that go on those places. And you have to be a very, very calm, peaceful person in order to endure some of the drama and the challenges that people come on, and they're bringing all their baggage, and I'm not talking about their physical bags, although they do that too. I'm talking about their mental and emotional baggage. And a person who is in public service such as that, they have to do their job peacefully, and they cannot come and if they're upset with you because you're looking crazy, they can't get upset with you. They because they want their job. So you may not realize it, but bus transit drivers, they bring a good contribution to the community. They are peacekeepers. They are transportation engines. I mean, think about it. They're on time most often, because if I give an analogy to my children sometimes. If you were a bus driver and you were late for work, do you understand the ripple effect that
everybody's gonna be late because you're late?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even the doctor's gonna be late if they taking the bus because they can't afford a vehicle. Because they student loans. And so now you can't get somebody can't get that very important surgery, life-saving surgery, because the bus driver, you was late getting to your job. They also are safety. They ensure the safety of the travelers. They got to keep track of the steps. They got to navigate the traffic. It is just so much. So yes, reach out and love on your bus or your transit driver. And that's your train conductors, the person in the vehicle next to you. That's everybody. Oh, Yvonne Robinson. Yvonne says, I used to complain about Chicago weather being too cold. Not anymore, since everywhere is supposed to be warm and now it's cold, flooding or freezing. Yes, thank you, Yvonne. You are so right. I went this past holiday, Christmas break. I went to where I thought was going to be a nice warm climate. And I got my bathing suits and everything. I'm going to be out in the pool on the outside. And it's okay. The pool is outside. I didn't mind. It was rained every other day. It was cold every day. It did warm up in the middle of the day for a little bit. But I was like, this is not. I've got to find somewhere else to go next year. Because this is not it. I had to wear my coat. You had your coat anyway because I left during the season. It was wintertime, but I had to actually wear it while I was gone. Yeah. So Zelda, please share. Oh, here it is, Global Teen
Global
Talent
Time
Contest
next
for the
week.
next week.
Yeah.
https://www.eventbrite. Yes, it's on Eventbrite. So just Google
Yeah.
it. Global Virtual Teen Talent Contest for the next week. We have it's free to join, but you have to put yourself out there to join. We just we want you to be able to be a part of that. We want to see your talents. We want you showcase your children's talents. Be their parents. We're all parents.
Right. We definitely want to encourage our young people. Now is more important than ever for us to give positive reinforcement to the young people. They really need to see that we believe in them and we appreciate the gifts and talents that they're bringing to the world. We got to take a quick break.
Yeah, they're going to be pushing us around.
Yes, right.
You don't want them to push us over.
That's right. Yes. What goes around comes around. So you don't want it to come back around to you if you have not been nice to a young person. So we'll be right back after this quick break. And we want you all to stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in just one moment. So stay with us.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
Mama Joy. And I'm Reverend Rosemary. Join us every second Saturday of the month, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time, here on the Female Solution Global Radio TV show for Neighborship of Joy. We'll have powerful conversations inviting women to walk in the light. So call in 515-605-9325 and press 1 to speak to the host. You can also join us live on the Female Solution Facebook page and YouTube channel. So see you on the second Saturday on the Neighborship of Joy. Tune in to Global Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time and 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear great topics and stories on grief and turn it into victory. Join Dr. Debbie Green to listen to stories of triumph and learn how to overcome. You are not alone in your life, and there is hope in the darkest hour. This is your time to learn strategies and solutions to improve your life. It's your time. So join Dr. Debbie Green with Global Solutions and call in on Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time and 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 515-605-9325 with comments and questions. Look to hear from you real soon.
Good, good.
Hi.
All right.
Welcome back, everyone. Yes, don't forget to reach out. Excuse me. Call 515-605-9325. That's 515-605-9325. Let's talk about it.
All right. There you are. Yes. So, so I think that one of the things that makes people perhaps not to go on those exotic vacations is sometimes fear of what they may have seen in other people's cultures, or fear of not having those amenities. I mean, yeah, okay, everybody doesn't have paved roads everywhere, and but that's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. I think once you go someplace, you discover that the real important things aren't necessarily all the luxuries and everything that you're used to. Um, I remember a friend of mine went to a country in Africa. I'm trying to think which one she was at, but at first she was all into well, I don't understand how people can be walking barefoot in the dirt, and I'm like, well, people do that down south here. That's not a big deal. And then other little things, because it was a rural area.
It humbles you. It
Yeah.
actually humbles you and allows you to be more appreciative to what you do have. And it also makes you recognize that maybe I do need to save the water. Maybe I am wasting too much food.
Yeah. Another thing, it was a water thing where they kind of had to ration the water because
yes,
and then
or bathing in cold water.
Yeah, cold water, because plumbing and things weren't available. But then at the end of her journey, at the end of her trip, because she was there for I think a couple of weeks, it might have been even almost a month. But the people were so nice, so friendly, so kind, so loving, and it was a very transformative experience because she realized that what really brings joy and what really makes wonderful, memorable relationships is the people, the relationships,
the relationships. Yes,
that's the important thing, not the things. It's the people and the enjoyment of the company of the people, and it brought a whole different, more appreciation of the comforts that we have, but also realizing that none of this stuff has value if you're not enjoying the company of the people. And
can you imagine so many people who are going through mental health challenges because of the stress of the world if they just took a vacation?
Yeah, go someplace where you see things differently. It that really does help.
Yes,
you really do understand what's important and what isn't important,
and what isn't, and
because
what
I think
is
the
it?
high stress thing that we live, it's so unnatural. It's so unnatural and so unnecessary. What will happen if you step away for 2 weeks? What will happen to the world? Well, it'll still be there when you come back.
I'm going to tell you, I realized some time ago that we all know that we're not promised.
Mm-hmm.
So if something happens to you and your job, you worried about your job or who's going to raise your children, what's going to happen with your children, but you can go and drop dead tomorrow and you're not going to be able to rectify or worry about any of that. So I'm not saying not worry or not be concerned, but effectively learn how to live.
Yes, enjoy your life, learn how to live,
and learn how to teach those that you are in charge of that same methodology.
Teach them how to live without you. That's the best thing a parent can do, is teach your children how to live without you. That way you're not paranoid about leaving. Oh, what if something happens to me? Well, eventually something's going to happen to you.
Something is going to happen.
Temporary job assignment. This ain't permanent, you know.
Right.
So
Right. So you want them to not be in a situation where you're no longer there, and whether physically or mentally, because sometimes parents lose it. They're so overwhelmed, they lose it mentally, and they're not there. And that's almost just as bad as not being there physically. So you have to instill in your children a way to, I always say, learn how to fish, teach them how to fish. You know, that's where I fall out with the Democrats sometimes. They always giving, but nobody is teaching.
Right.
Teaching. We have to learn.
Yes. You teach people how to create a business, then they can create a business and employ their children. You don't have to give them welfare.
Exactly.
Simple.
Hello.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of, you know, speaking of the whole Democrat Republican thing, a lot of wealthy Black people ended up turning to the Republican Party because that was more geared toward the self-sufficiency. Hey, there you go. I voted.
Vote. Make sure you vote.
Make sure you vote. And I understand, you know, the principles of developing entrepreneurship, developing independent enterprises, giving people a chance to create their own income by their own ingenuity. That's much more effective than always giving people a handout so that they get the impression they don't have the ability to do for themselves.
And look at the revenue in travel. Look at the revenue in travel alone. And there are so many different lanes of income opportunity. I mean, I look at you talking about folks in South Africa. There's a woman in South Africa that owns her own airlines.
Wow.
Her own airlines. And she started off working for an airline. She started off small. And that's when she worked up and built the ranks. And now she owns her own airlines. You know, she has a fleet, not just one airline. She has
all right, all my flight attendant friends, are you paying attention?
Yes.
Look what you could become.
Exactly. And not only a flight attendant, you have children who are into the space, you know, travel, or they should be into space travel, because by the time they get of age, space travel is definitely going to be here. Don't be left out.
Yeah.
Don't be left out. There are travel advisors that we need to help with the doctor who is busy operating on people. They don't have time to plan their vacation.
Right.
So that's why they need travel advisors. There are engineers. There are people who are food service for the airlines. There's special packaging when you have food service for the airlines. There are people who, everybody got to have a suitcase.
Right. Somebody got to design it.
Can you design the most effective suitcase for your traveler? I mean, and these are multiple, you know, in your lifetime. These are not just buy one and then you're done for your lifetime.
Yeah.
These are repetitive situations.
Just think of whoever designed a little neck brace that people use when they travel, and they gotta, you know,
everybody's got one.
Now everybody's got one. Can you imagine a contract with one airlines for them to provide those or have those at the stores in the airport? Instant millionaire.
There was an article that I came across just the other day. A woman, because it's Black History. Well, no, this was because of her history month. She just happens to be Black. Out of Alaska, she has created vending machines that supplies different things for families who are traveling with infants and children.
Wow.
So you position the vending machine in the airport because, of course, there's something that we're going to miss, something we forgot, something that the binky, the pacifier, or the nook nook that the kid threw out back at TSA. And now you got to have this nook nook.
Yeah.
Because this child is raising sand.
Yeah.
So here's a vending machine that you come across that you can buy a new nook nook, or you can buy some different toys or
something to keep a child quiet doing that fun.
In this vending machine. Vending machines are hot.
Yeah.
All over.
Yeah, well, you know, there are things that are sold in vending machines in other countries that you wouldn't believe you get out of a vending machine. I think one of my nephews first went to Japan and he was telling us some of the gadgets that you could get out of a vending machine. What? But yeah,
you know, they talk about TikTok now. I see by way of TikTok a lot of gadgets that they have in China that are really clever. I'm like, wow, I need, but I know everything is on a miniature scale.
If you could invent something that everybody needs, but just nobody thought of creating it, your whole life would change. And that's what they say. What is the saying? Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes.
You know, when you need something, that's what gives you the creativity to develop it. Just believe that you could come up with an idea, design it, and believe you could file to get a patent on it. Believe that you could find a place, a manufacturing company or whatever, or create a manufacturing company to actually build the thing that you thought of in your own mind.
Right.
We all have the power to create. That's why
so many things.
I agree with the people who say, I mean, I understand sometimes people say, we know the Republicans are really more about giving people a chance to develop a business rather than a handout, because that's really what we need.
That's what we need. Right.
You know, when you travel, there's so many things you think, well, if somebody would just do this, or if somebody would just do that. Oh, somebody, if you get in that thought, well, you're the somebody, you know, do it.
Yeah. I say get rid of the Republicans, the Democrats, the independent, we just have people who have ideas.
Right.
And that's what we go with.
Yeah, I think that's what
the party thing. That party thing kind of transcends over religion thing.
It does. It gets it becomes a means of separating people instead of bringing people together. And then you start believing, well, I can't agree with this person because they're in another party. I can't agree with this person because they're in another religion. You might agree with them. It doesn't matter if they got another label. The label is obsolete and ineffective and inappropriate. We should not be labeling. Just listen to people's ideas and listen to what you agree with, and you know, go with that.
And either you agree or you don't agree. You may agree today and change your mind tomorrow, or vice versa. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. We can do that.
Yeah, it's okay to change your mind.
Yeah.
Really, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to talk about how we have in travel, how we talk because we're right here, but we have a presence all around the world. And another thing we talk about, this is English Tourism Week, but yesterday and all week long, see, I pay homage to my St. Patrick's Day roots.
Oh yeah,
by wearing of the green. My Irish roots, but and I do. I must admit, you know, in my ancestry, I am part Irish.
Yeah.
We all part something.
Yeah, everybody's got parts of all kinds of things.
All of us who are on this side of the pond most often are. But we have to recognize that we are a collective piece of person, and we have collective minds and collective ideas and thoughts, and we have to not only respect our own feelings and thoughts, but respect those of others.
Absolutely.
We have to do more in respecting. And like I had mentioned earlier, smiling. When someone comes across and maybe brush you, and you want to get bent out of shape because you are already in your own feelings, stop. You can control the atmosphere around you. You
Mm-hmm.
can change a life. You can save a life by smiling, because you don't know what another person is going through. And just because they go to, cuss you out because you walked in front of them,
Mm-hmm.
they're in their mind, they're going through something. Anybody who is at that level of communication, they're going through something already, and it has nothing to do with you.
Right.
You were just the end point right then.
Yeah.
And now I can lash out. I can't lash out at my children, but now I can lash out at somebody because you don't mean anything to me.
That's all
And
that
and
is. They're
we have
venting.
we have
Yeah.
to be able to understand that and either diffuse it or walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
every fight you
Definitely.
don't have to grab.
Right. Most of the time when people behave in a way that's unpleasant, it is not personal at you at all. It's something
Right.
internal they're going through. And if you can respond with a loving, kind, compassionate, cheerful response, you can actually change what's happening inside of them. You
Mm-hmm.
can change what they're feeling. That's the power that we
Yeah.
have as living beings, that we're affecting other people. Somebody can say something nasty, even cuss at you, and you can
Like,
smile and
it's all right, because when you walk away,
yeah,
I mean, are they putting food in your
yeah.
on your plate?
I mean,
They
really.
putting
I mean,
money in your plate?
right. They're not affecting your life. There was one young man, I know he's probably going through something, and he said some awful thing, cussed at me. And I just looked at him, I said, what a beautiful voice God has given you. Now, do
Mm-hmm.
you really want to use such a beautiful gift to say those kind of words? His whole demeanor changed.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry. I mean,
Right.
I'm just mad because these people did blah, 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 blah. He had a whole different set of problems he was upset about. And I just smiled and said, yeah, I understand. But he changed totally.
Just because of
Yeah.
a sweet dispensation that you had towards him.
And
You
that's a small
weren't
damn
angry
thing.
to build on that already, that anger that was
Yeah.
already there. And a lot of situations that you hear about where there's violence is because violence is begetting
Violence.
violence.
Yeah, it escalates. As women, we have the ability to really change. I mean, we have these soothing voices, these pretty smiles. We have the ability to diffuse anger if we know how to use that skill. And there's so many times we can change a person's mood just by a kind word. And it doesn't matter. You can be anywhere in the world. It's not even what you say, it's the tone of voice.
It's
You might be
how
in
you say
another
it, and
language.
how you look, how you fixate
Yeah,
your body
yeah.
movement.
A smile means the same thing in every language. So you could a smile in Spain mean the same thing as a smile in Ghana, or a smile
Mhm.
in Russia. Same, it means
It's
the
the
same.
same thing. What can we do? You
Yeah.
just travel.
Yes.
Travel. It will
Yeah.
cure most everything. Travel,
Changes
and
your
if you can't
perspective.
get out, if you can't afford it, uh, to buy money, if you can't afford it because of your time or your responsibilities, then there's always Google. I tell you, I've been.
Travel virtually. But I think, what was it? We were having a conversation the other day about where something is in the world. And I realized that people don't, I don't think they have classes where they really look at the whole globe, where you see where everything is in relation to everything. And you really understand, when somebody mentions a country, oh, that's here, oh, that's
We
there.
have it. People
Yeah.
don't look for it. Remember when we were when we were in school, there was always a globe.
Yeah, I wonder how many people have a globe in their house,
classroom
though.
and a globe at home. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I
But-
wouldn't bought one because, I'm like, we need a globe. Yeah.
But there's maps that you can get and that are printed out that you can post on the walls. You can have a map of a state. You can have a map of the United States. You can have a map of other countries. There's, remember the continents, the 7 continents, the North Pole, the South Pole, Antarctica, Asia, what's that other place? Africa.
Now, do you remember what grade you were in when you all learned how many continents there were?
I don't, but I think it was like maybe 3rd grade. And I think because I had a crush on my 3rd grade teacher.
Those crushes help. It makes you pay attention.
I think that's where I really started paying attention.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I remember. I don't know.
I remember.
That was repetitive. That was repetitive knowledge. I don't mind.
Yeah.
I said earlier, practice makes perfect. You have to practice in order to remember. When you got your new phone number, you had to practice saying it, practice writing it down in order to remember it. A lot of people rely on the technical media that we have now to remember things, but we didn't have those things back in the day. We had to practice. We had to practice our spelling words.
Yeah.
We had to write down our sentences 20 times on line paper, printed and cursive.
But that helps you remember it. Now, one thing I'm seeing is different because people have, on their phone or in the car, they got Google Maps, they got, they got all kinds of
MapQuest.
GPS, MapQuest.
Yeah.
People don't carry maps anymore. And I think the last time I got lost and I went in a gas station, but they used to always have them, and they didn't have any maps. I was, do you have a map? And they were like, well, no. I'm like, what? What do you mean no? You're a gas station. And they looked around and finally they found one like tucked under some paper somewhere. I'm like, but everybody, because we've gotten dependent on the GPS to just tell us where to go.
You better stop.
And I realized
have you what is that man went off the road, had been washed away. You got all these storms and whatnot, and GPS doesn't necessarily keep up with when roads are washed away. And the man went off and drowned following the GPS right near his home. So it is, you have to be careful. There are ways that if you're going on a road trip, you need to make sure that you have an atlas or some kind of map. Now, you used to be able to get those maps at those on the highway, those rest stops.
Those rest stops. Now, the rest stops, of course,
they used to have them. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It depends on the supply. I think if you belong to an automobile club, you may be able to request one, or you can go online before you leave home and map out your route and print it out, just like you should print out your tickets when you're going to get on the airline, because God forbid you get up to the desk to check in on the airline and you got it on your phone and your phone doesn't work. You left your phone at TSA. Your battery is no Wi-Fi. And now what do you do?
All that stuff.
Because your plane fixing to leave and it's not going to stay and wait for you to go down the hallway to get. Have a piece of paper. I know they say it's not good for the environment, but some things you got to have that paper.
Yeah, figure out how to recycle paper. Okay, write stuff on envelopes after you receive mail. Then that way, you're not creating any new paper, but you're using the old paper for something that you need now, which is notes and things like that.
Or teach your children paper mache.
Yeah, do something creative.
Creative.
Yeah.
Or recycle in some kind of way the paper. But yeah, you need some things you need to follow up on and pay attention to. And we definitely, oh my goodness, we've got to be so in tune to what our needs are. And not rely on technology, even though technology is good, but we cannot rely on technology. And I want to say again, vote. I didn't want to leave without saying this off of this subject about voting. If you can look and see how many situations where the vote has been lost or won by a few hundred or even one or two votes. Yes, so don't say my vote will not count. Your vote counts. Now, you may not, the person you voted for may not get in office, but your vote counts.
Yeah.
Pay attention and vote. And if you don't vote, then you're voting for the one who won.
Right. Your non-vote is to vote for the one who won.
For the one who won.
They've been talking a lot. I know we got to take a break and I got to leave the screen, but you'll still hear my voice. But, a lot of the candidates that are running for mayor have been talking about education. And I'm wondering how much information are we giving our young people about the rest of the world so that they are prepared to travel and they are prepared to even see themselves as doing business abroad or vacationing abroad or developing international trade relations abroad. How much information are we giving people about the world when they're in the classroom? Because I've talked to too many students, I've talked to too many adults who don't know little things like not knowing that Africa is a continent of countries. And I have had too many adults who don't know that. Or not knowing that Europe and Asia are connected. That's really one continent. It's all one big piece. And Europe in itself really is not a continent because it's connected to Asia. So we might want to call it Eurasia, but I mean, just things that we should know about the world that we don't know because we don't look at a globe. And then we don't know, or stuff like Egypt is in Africa. How much information are we giving our children so they can see themselves as part of a world community so that they won't be afraid to travel and meet our neighbors? Well, maybe we can talk about that. What are some of the ways we should maybe change the way we're teaching about the rest of the world so that people do have a better visual image of where things are?
We're not.
Yeah, we're not.
And if they are, it's not impressive because they're not retaining it.
Right. They're not.
And there's so much politics. I don't know. It's so much politics in the education. And it's all about here and how they want to suppress people and ideas. And that's why parents, I can't stress to you enough, parents, and those of you who are in charge of educating children. I'm not speaking only of teachers. I'm beyond the teacher portal. I'm talking about educated people like you and I. This format here is education. So share this with your children.
Yes.
Bring, we have to, because they are missing out.
Yeah.
And it is, this world is so full. And if they had more ideas of what is going on than just what is in their little cubicles. And you know, someone else that I want to get on. Okay, here I go. And you know, folks know who I am, know where I live. Okay, and I'm talking to those specifically, those people who have impressions on folks, who are impressing through music and other media. You look at the damage that you're doing because of the glorifying of violence that you're portraying. I know you're trying to tell your story, but
really
it's not a glorified story, and you know it's not glorified.
Yeah.
Pay attention, respect.
Being used.
You know, I look at folks and you just, there's no common courtesy, no common sense. Even when you're driving, transportation, look at, we're appreciating our transit workers. Just in respecting them. They're trying to focus on traffic and focus on making sure they go the right route. And they're dropping you off and making sure you're safely off the bus or safely on the bus or whatever mode of transportation it is. And now you're in the background with the loud noise, or you're hollering at somebody, or you're bringing on all your extra baggage. Just go on vacation.
Yeah. You need to get up out of here. That's it. That's the sign you need a break.
But I will tell you, if you're not ready to control yourself, and we'll talk about that in the next segment. If you're not ready to control yourself, don't go out there trying to travel.
That's right.
Higher Learning Network television show.
It's here in 2023. Thanks for the inspiration. The Higher Learning Network Media Center. All right.
Yes.
Another inspiration. And she says labels are exclusive. Mindfulness is inclusive. That's right.
Yes.
Stop labeling people. Let's just be one human family. That's all
we are.
That's all we are.
You know, you better pay attention to the folks, the beings from the other entities, the out of this world, start coming down and dictating what you're gonna do. How about that? And how you gonna deal with them?
those other beings.
Okay.
We're gonna be right back. Yeah, we're not alone in this universe.
We're not alone at all. Don't think you are. And I know people have seen stuff going on in the sky, like, what was that? Did I see what I thought I saw? You did.
They're watching. We'll be right back, you all. So stay with us.
Stick and stay. Don't go away.
The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Self-Care with Jody Susan. Wednesdays, Repairing Broken Families with Naima Latif and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And Fridays, Health and Wellbeing with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Success Strategies with Jana. Second Saturday, Wendy Williams Esquire on relationships. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, Wisdom with Mama D. Join us Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to the host and be a part of the solution.
I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also 3 sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
All right. Well, welcome back, everyone. So glad to have you here with us today. You're here with the Female Solution and Move Around with Deborah. We're here every third Saturday. And so glad to have this opportunity to come share with you some travel experiences, travel tips, because we know you're going to travel. Travel is so prevalent. And it is so many different levels of travel that we have. Of course, as we are experiencing spring. Yes, it's springtime, although the weather is still challenging across the country and it may snow at any point wherever you are, but we're going into spring. So the tulips and the orchids are blooming. The cherry blossom trees are in full bloom, so that means it is time. There are a couple of different tours that I want to talk about that are prevalent during this time.
Before you get into the tours, we got a caller on. Would you like to take a call?
Oh, yes.
All right, area code 314. 677. Your mic is open. Go right ahead. Introduce yourself to our listening and viewing audience and give us your thoughts.
Welcome.
How are you? I'm fantastic. How are you? Thank you. World traveler.
I'm going to say this. You talk about voting. It's okay for people to vote if they want to. But people in groups should not be trying to coerce and steer people on how to vote. And, one of the things that gets me is that you have a politician. I'm going to give you a name like Sheila Jackson Lee, and she's not the only one. She's represent, I think, the 8th district in Texas. Okay? And I'm in Missouri. I'm down south. And she has a problem with violence in her community, so she wants to pass a national law controlling guns in her community, but she wanted to apply to the whole nation.
Oh, my. Well, that's something else that we can come to an understanding on. But we know that we can't travel with guns. Did you know that if you are able to have a gun in your state, that's open carry or controlled carry, that if you cross states into another state that does not have the same law, that you are held as a criminal? So guns and travel, you have to be really careful and concerned. And I agree with you. Voting, people have to know who they're voting for, what the values of that constituent is if it's matching the same values that you have, if they are on the same platform, and everybody's not going to be equally yoked all the time, but you know, you have your list, your pros and your cons, and if your pros are longer than your cons, then you make your decision off of that. So we definitely want to encourage folks to vote, but be an educated voter. Definitely be an educated voter. I thank you so much for your comment.
Absolutely. No, I ain't done yet.
Oh,
I didn't get my first comment out.
yeah.
Absolutely right. She should concern on her constituents, at least for everybody else along. And that goes to another point. You had Al Sharpton marching down into Florida, complaining about what the governor of Florida, who was elected by Floridians, is doing as it applies to what's taught in the schools. Well, that's his business. He can do that. Al Sharpton, nobody's telling the people that they can't have taught certain things, but you can't teach it in schools, public schools in particular. You cannot teach bias. Naima, there in Chicago, you got a school called Harvard Sizemore. It's African-centered curriculum that they use there. Nobody's telling those people they can't teach that if they want to. In Seattle, Washington, just here recently, parents pull their kids out of the schools to the point where the school board has to lay off teachers. Why is that? Because parents told the school board, we don't want our children to be taught this stuff. But they didn't listen. They went in the library and took out books. The library put them back in. So the parents said, we'll fix it. We're taking our kids out. And they did.
And they have that choice. They have that choice. Parents should take a more active role in the education of their children. If parents took a more active role in the education of their children, we would have more smoother educational systems across the board. And we cannot compare a charter school to a private school to a public school where folks is paying public money into, and the rules and regulations, they change. That's why it's either you know who is in charge, what they are offering, and how they have to come by. That's all part of being an educated person in those things. You have to know, a parent, it's a parent's first responsibility to know what's going on with their child. And as far as Mr. Sharpton going somewhere else, I think he's representing those people who don't have a voice or don't feel as though they have a voice. But you're absolutely right. What is done in Florida from the people who have elected the Floridians, who have elected those responsible. But it is important for those who don't like it to make their voice heard. And the persons who are in political office, they have to also respect all of the constituents, not just the ones who voted for them, but all of the ones who are representing them. They have to respect. People have to respect people, and they have to listen and understand and pay attention and not have a tunnel vision focus.
That's a good point you made, lady.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
The third Saturday host, and Deborah, who has a travel agency and talks about travel. One of the reasons why we talk about travel is because when you go different places, like you just pointed out to me, like people have different opinions based on what they feel is appropriate to their state. But we're actually growing beyond the borders where we live. And just like air quality, you have some states might say, well, we think like Virginia, a heavy coal mining state. Well, the reality is air does not respect any imaginary boundaries that people set. So the air in Virginia is not going to stop at the borders of Virginia. It's going to go into all, not just the country, but the world, because air circulates around the globe. And that being the reality, we have to also see that we're really one world community. So, just like Deborah was talking about the guns, okay, people in one state might say, well, we believe in concealed carry and all that sort of thing. But you can't get on a plane and you're going to go feed with your permit to carry concealed weapons. You know, you can't just take your belief and go to somewhere else where they say it's not permissible.
Well, let me tell you something about it. When air travel from here, say down to Cuba, the ultraviolet rays in the sun would cleanse the air. It's not the same air. That's a scientific fact. Matter of fact, it's a good thing. That's why come in Brazil,
air does not stop at a state line, or
it doesn't stop, but it's clean. That's why come you can't smell the same thing that you smell in your neighborhood when you go into another neighborhood. It's because the ultraviolet rays of the sun cleans it out. I can't
it's not necessarily clean. It's different. It's not necessarily clean. It's different. It's different. One person's clean is another person's not so clean. And there's still the other rays that are going on from the satellites.
Have breathing problems because of the pollution in China. I mean, it's air travel. Everybody in this world has been exposed to the coronavirus. Now, some people got sick from it and some people didn't, but everybody's been breathing it because it's in the air. And you can't stop it. I don't care whether you go to another state or not. Air travels everywhere. It circulates.
Well, that's the fact. And let me ask you a question. Why are people wearing masks?
I can answer that question for myself. You asked me, why do I wear a mask? For several reasons. One, I live in a climate where when I have that mask on and I'm outside, my face is warm. Two, if I'm around other people who are coughing and sneezing, even before COVID, I didn't want to catch those germs. I'm using that mask. If I have a cold or I'm sneezing, my allergies, I want to suppress them. I wear a mask. So yes, I wear a mask.
How many entries to your body can germs enter? They can enter through your mouth, but you got a immune response called saliva that's very, very high in acid.
It enters through your nostril system mostly.
Immune response in your nose called snot and stops it. Viruses can enter through your eyes, but you have an immune response called tearing that kills those things. It also can enter through your ears.
Well, then if that's the case, there are no germs. That's just a figment of our imagination. What? I don't understand.
It's a thing that when I was a kid in school, I learned these things. Why come children today is not being taught the biological facts about the human body?
Because the biological germs that are in this atmosphere now are more intense than they were when we were coming up.
No, it's not the same. It's just
no, they're not the same. There are so many more man-made. I mean, just look at the food that we eat.
The human body has been exposed to over 324 trillion viruses. They come from outer space.
Oh, so they travel too.
Yeah, they travel too.
I love it. That's why we travel, and we protect ourselves. And what are some of the things you look at folks in other countries that they have to drink muddy water because their water supply isn't clean, and they don't get sick. Or people in Mexico, and I'm just using Mexico. Forgive me, my Mexicanians, but me and my palate, if I go to another country and eat the natural foods there, I may get sick because my gastric system is not used to what I would have been used to if I was raised Yeah, so there are differences that we have to protect ourselves, even though there's trillions and trillions of different avenues and venues and variations. We have to protect ourselves. So yes, we do that.
It's not only the food you eat, but males in America should not be going on the other side of the planet having sex with the women, because your body is not used to the bacteria that woman, female, naturally carries.
And you know that's going to be touch on one of the segments that I'm going to talk about in our last 30 minutes about spring break and global medical tourism. People are traveling. It's spring break time for the college folks, and you don't even have to be in college to go on spring break. Let me tell you.
I got one more thing I want to tell you.
All right.
I'll tell you another thing.
Okay.
Humans on this planet look the way they do because of the environment that they grow up in. Now get this. If you ever colonize Mars and sent humans there, humans after a period of time would change their physique. They may grow up with their head square. They may grow up being only 3 foot tall. They may grow up having 3 eyeballs. You are the product of the environment that you live in. Believe me.
After a while. Not right away. After a while. And are you saying that
yes,
when we start going space travel,
behind the ears of that baby if you want to, but that baby and the next baby will soon change if you move to another geographical location in this world.
Eventually, but not right away. Right? Thank you.
Not right away. It takes time.
Right.
And that's good. But
yes.
Anyway, I really appreciate the conversation, and I appreciate being able to contribute to it.
I appreciate you too. We certainly love you here. Thank you so very much. You always bring a welcoming conversation. Have a blessed day.
Thanks for calling, Bianchi. We always enjoy your conversation. That's one of the things that comes up a lot. People having different policies from state to state or country to country. And if there's one thing we learned from COVID is that there really is no division, even though we you experience different things in different places, but air is something that's everywhere. Mm-hmm. And there was no greater illustration of that than the spread of COVID, especially if you get on a plane from one country to another. And this is why, a lot of places, if they've got a high rate of sickness from that, they will still require masks. But people in China were wearing masks before COVID because they're
before COVID, because of the smog. And there are some countries that did not allow tourism.
Masks because the smog is so bad there, and on a windy day it drifts over into Korea. So Koreans wear a lot of masks. When I was on the train, the subway, the L, whatever. When I was on the train, we were traveling. When I was in South Korea, a lot of people sitting there with masks on because I was asking my daughter, why are people wearing masks? And she said, well, sometimes the pollution gets really bad, the germs and all of that. So that was a practice of people in Asia long before COVID.
Yes.
Masks to cover themselves with germs. But you're saying, sometimes people are sick and they're coughing. You're not supposed to cough on people. So if you know you got a cold, you should wear a mask. So that's people just did.
That's what we do. I remember in the COVID era where some of the borders were closed for travel, and that was because the folks they could not afford people to come into their country and spread the disease because their medical services were not up to par to be able to provide any cures. So these are some of the things that we have to pay attention to.
Even here, the medical the facilities got overwhelmed. So these people knew that they didn't want to have to try to accommodate, thousands of foreigners coming there. And, so it's like, come on, y'all can't come, stay away. And which was the right response, because people really shouldn't. People have to.
Well, not even there are thousands.
Part of I think, human decency. You can't be going places and taking your sickness with you. Just like people shouldn't send their sick child to school because they can't find a babysitter.
Right.
Everybody in the classroom is going to be sick.
Or you shouldn't go to work sick.
And you shouldn't go to work sick,
No, stay home.
At a restaurant, you sneezing all in the soup. No, I didn't need you to come to work today. No. I know you don't no favors.
Yeah, stay home and go on a tour by Google, and it'll make you feel better. Hello.
Yeah, you can check them virtually. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Feel like you went somewhere and you stepped in your living room. That's okay.
Not at all.
Because and a lot of people have different feelings about like taking certain shots to go in certain countries. Because I remember when I went to Liberia, and the requirement was that you take vaccinations. I think it was for what is that common thing that
typhoid or diphtheria or something. Yeah. One of the many.
We didn't have natural immunity to that. So
when I went to Germany back in the 60s, in the 70s, I went to Germany and I had to have a shot. Yeah, and I was a child, but you had to protect yourself. And now look at the people who want to go to the motherland and different places like that, and those are all nature-bound people, but they don't want to take any inoculation. But in order for you to travel there, that's the requirements, because that's to protect you. Who is it? It was a famous singer, and his mind escapes me. The OJ's son. What was it? He went to Africa and caught something, and he eventually passed after he got home. Yeah. Now I don't know if he had been inoculated before he went, but Gerald Levert. Yeah, he after he returned home, he never recovered from some virus, and I don't know if that's the story now, but that was the story back then. And I'll never forget that. But yes, you have to protect yourself, and not only you protecting yourself, you're protecting those of the people of where you're going to. Those native people, they're not exposed to some of the things that we are exposed to. So we have to protect each other. And we can't go and drink the water somewhere else. Everybody doesn't have bottled water. We can't go and drink and eat the food. When you travel, there are some places where the restaurants are gastronomically licensed. So it's okay for you, an American, to eat there because they have strict adherence to what the food is that they're preparing for you. Because if you go into a natural restaurant or a local restaurant, and they're not, you're eating. Yeah, you're eating something, the chicken that they just knocked in the head. I'm sorry, you were saying something?
Yeah, I know that here that there are specific requirements you have to meet, government inspections and so forth, and licensing that you have to meet if you're going to open a restaurant. I don't know if it's the same in other places. I don't know if other countries have the same requirements of meeting certain health standards. I don't know.
Some in the tourist
go away and they get sick. So
yeah,
I don't know
in the tourist areas they do. In the tourist areas they do, and they have to have those licenses and they have to have those requirements because if not, the tourists will get sick because they're not used to anything other than that. So yes, they have to, and it is so. We want to impress so on travelers to be aware of that. I know one of the things that we're putting in our travel bags now is the Pepto-Bismol. You see at the airport the Pepto-Bismol commercials always have something to do with travel because when you travel you have to prepare yourself for these situations. You get nervous, your body goes through a whole thing. Some people get nervous to fly or to cruise or to get even in a vehicle and go on the highway. They get nervous, and once you get nervous, your body starts churning your acidities in your system. And our medical professionals that we have come on, Jody and Viata, they could tell you it's some things that go on with your body when it's not right that you have to prepare for. So I hope that you all are aware of that when you're traveling. It's more to travel than just getting out and getting on a plane. It's more to travel than just understanding, oh, I want to go here, let me go. You have to plan, you have to prepare, you have to put things in order. It's a couple of things that I really want to share with folks. TSA.
Also, we got to take our last break before you, and then you come back and share the rest of those things. So
okay, will do. Break. Thank you.
You got the board. Go right ahead. So you got the switchboard. So go right ahead, and after this last break, we'll be right back.
Okay, sounds good.
We have an opportunity to transform the whole global society in the next 50 years. 50 years from now, the Earth will be populated by a new generation of adults, many of whom are yet unborn. Our mission is to nurture them in childhood with love, guidance, and protection, and to raise them in healthy, happy families. If we impart values of compassion, generosity, and respect for fellow human beings in the next generation of children, they will create a world where people can live together in peace. This is our goal. Be a part of the transformation. Get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. Go to www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com. Do you want to live in a world without war? Join our global peace movement. Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Light transcends culture, religion, ideology, and other boundaries to achieve peaceful harmony in the global society. HWPL is committed to bring world peace and cessation of war through peaceful dialogue between religious groups. I am Director Shinzu Kim of the HWPI Chicago branch of North America. Join us for our next gathering. Call 773-580-1501 and be a part of the movement for world peace. Email us at chicagohwpl@gmail.com. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, executive producer of the Female Solutions Global Radio TV show. We are a part of the online network of Associated Internet Radio hosts, On Air. On Air empowers you with transformative news and interactive radio TV shows. This is such a wonderful time to be alive and to see our human family coming together as one community as a result of that powerful tool, the internet. We can now talk directly to each other all over the world. There's no need for conflict or misunderstanding. There's no need for violence to solve our differences. We can talk to each other face to face until we reach an agreement. On Air offers a fantastic global guide to communicators from all over the world who are using their internet platforms to inspire us to strive to be our best selves in order to become the kind, compassionate, loving people we were all born to be. Once we do that, we'll see planet Earth transformed into a place of peace. Subscribe to the recommended YouTube channel, Facebook pages, and podcasts created by these Voices of Enlightenment. On Air provides daily news briefs and a weekly magazine to keep you abreast of events and opportunities. On Air news affiliates in television, radio, and print share information, insight, and interviews with notable personalities. Go to onaireverywhere.com for a daily dose of uplifting news. We're on air everywhere, online all the time. Hey, it's time to take charge of your health. I'm Bianca, your holistic life coach, and every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, I'm here on the Female Solution to empower you to make choices that will assist your evolution to abundant health. I'm also blogging every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at Soul Purpose Healing, where I bring you a spiritual chiropractic adjustment to bring you back into alignment with our Creator's love, compassion, and wisdom. Join me every Friday morning at 8 a.m. and Sunday evening at 8 p.m. for a time of unity, enlightenment, and love vibration. Shalom. Is Monday morning a struggle to get out of bed into the swing of things? Well, don't worry, you are not alone. Join us for thought-provoking, stimulating, and mindful conversations on higher learning with Delta Speaks for your Monday morning mindfulness session on Blog Talk Radio, The Female Solution, Mondays, 7:30 until 9 a.m. Be sure and send your ideas, thoughts, comments, and suggestions. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, visit DeltaSpeaks.com and send us your info. We'd love to have you. Experience mindfulness moments with the mindfulness/stress relief coach, Delta Speaks. And thanks for sharing the mindfulness moment tip of the day. Stay on purpose, stay empowered, and stay tuned to your next session of mindfulness on higher learning with Delta Speaks. We'll make it a mindful day. And thanks for listening.
All right, we're back. I hope you are having a wonderful time. We're here, excuse me, with Move Around with me, Deborah, as we are here every third Saturday. Now, Today, we're here because of my love of travel, how I transfix myself on a regular basis. Even if I don't leave my office, I go around the country, across the country, around the world, in green pastures, bustling cities, concerts, museums, and I also try to ski. Yes, I try. You should see my style. Have you ever tried it? Well, you certainly can virtually. As I encourage everyone to virtually travel, especially before they actually get ready to go somewhere. You know, you have to plan. We always talk about planning. I mean, there's many different ways to plan. You have to know where you want to go, how you want to go. That's something that you can develop. When you want to go, and of course, putting in your travel bucket. Where is it? Your travel weekly, just dropping some little change down in there so you can afford to travel. So now you've gotten all that together. Let's skip forward a whole lot. You know, we've packed and you know, I think that's something that we're going to talk about soon, packing, because we tend to overpack. Because we don't want to leave anything. And that's understandable. It's not something that's easy to do. You have to have it at a science. But I want to alert those of you who are going to be traveling for spring break, for Easter, for Mother's Day, for graduations, for summertime, just because you need to get away to de-stress. One of the first stops that you go to, I always say that the airport is your first destination. After you've gotten to the airport in a timely manner, and everybody knows now who have heard a little bit, go early, go on time, try to get that first flight out, book and wear your comfortable clothes, but be covered, because typically, you know, the airports, they're a little chilly, so the climate is challenging. But one of the second stops after you've dropped off your luggage and whatnot, and one of those things I do want to say: do not carry any batteries, any peripherals that have batteries or any battery operated items. Do not pack them in your checked luggage. That's cell phones, the other, how you read your book electronically, your laptops, your computers, whatever else you might have or carry a battery. Don't put the battery in your checked luggage. You're going to have to go through TSA. TSA is a Transportation Security Administration, I believe. You're going to have to meet up with a TSA agent. Have your identification readily available. Don't have it down in your purse where you got to dump out all the tissue paper and all the other paperwork that you have down in your bag to looking for your ID. These are some things that you're going to have your ID and your boarding pass. I know we talked about boarding passes. You should have them printed. If you don't have them printed and you want to rely on your telephone or whatever other peripheral you have them on, that's okay. I always suggest you have a printed boarding pass and your identification. If you have an identification, your passport, get your passport. I know you're not traveling out of the country. Get your passport. Get your passport book. It's good for 10 years. The investment is minimal, but try to travel with your passport. It's a larger document than your driver's license or your state identification. and it's a little more tangible as when you're looking for ID, and it's in a booklet form, so you can just stuff your boarding pass in there, but have that available. And don't put it down in your purse. Have a pocket. Be proactive is the type of clothing that you wear when you travel. So have it in a deep pocket in a jacket or in your clothes, so you can readily access it, because you're going to have to show it when you get to the TSA gate. And I know that you might have heard that some folks don't have to take off their belt, or some people don't have to take off their shoes, or some people are getting checked and some people aren't getting checked. Whatever you do, don't argue with the TSA agent. Please don't argue with the TSA agent. If you disagree, you say, well, how come that person up there didn't have to do these things that you're having me do? There's a reason. There's random checks on different situations. Sometimes you may have paid for the ability not to take off your belt or not to remove your shoes. But if they're doing a particular random check and it's your turn to go through where they got to take off your shoes, or you're being patted down for whatever reason, that's just an extra strength of security that they have to go through. It's okay. Just go through, be pleasant. Remember, they see thousands of people in a day. They see in thousands of attitudes in that same day, and they have to continue to smile. And sometimes that smile doesn't come across. We're all in a hustle and bustle. If you get there and if you're not pushed and like you're holding me up and my plane is leaving, you got to get there in time to give you that flexibility, so you can sit around the airport and people watch or read or have a meal. There's so much to do in the airport. Airports are museums now. There are plenty of things, and you can research your airport that you're leaving from. If you're leaving from a busy airport, that's another thing. Some airports are busy all the time. Some airports are busy sometimes. Some airports are never busy. I heard LAX is one of the most confusing airports around. I like my little small airport in my town. Although there's another airport that I have that's is huge, but it just depends. Some airports you have one terminal, and if you have a connecting flight going somewhere else, you got to go out of that terminal, collect your bags, go into another terminal, go through TSA again, and collect just the whole thing. Yeah, it's a lot sometimes. So that's why you have a travel advisor, and they can help you navigate all of that. And if you're interested in becoming a travel advisor, talk to me. Let me know. You can always email me at Deborah, DEBORAH, thefemalesolution@gmail.com. If you have any questions or you want to make a statement and you weren't able to make that statement while we were here on the line, you could certainly do that. Just email me. Reach out to me. If you have a topic that you want to focus on, and we had 2 topics today that I really wanted to get into. Like I say, spring break was one, and I wanted to be more of letting it's time to get out there and boogie. But we talked about the TSA. Don't argue with the TSA agents. And to you cruisers, there's been sometimes we go on the party cruise, the Carnival cruise, and we get excited and we get the party. And any cruise that you go on, don't get in a confrontation with someone else, with other passengers. Please don't get in a confrontation with other passengers. Let it go. Walk away. Be the bigger person. If you're afraid for your life, they have security. Trust and believe there's security all through it. You don't even know who they are, but they're, tap into somebody. I say this because if you get into an altercation on a cruise ship and you are in the middle of your journey and you happen to be not on your way home, so to speak, say you just started off on your cruise and you get in an altercation, the first place that they pull up into a port, you're going to have to get off and they're going to arrest you. And if they don't arrest you, you have to get off. If you're not arrested, you're going to have to figure out a way to get home. And the cruise line is not going to be responsible for getting you home. That also brings me to the point, having your passport. Because in some situations, when you cruise, they tell you don't have to have a passport. Just bring your driver's license and your birth certificate, an official birth certificate, and that should be sufficient enough for you to get on this cruise. Get your passport and get it down. Don't wait till it's almost time for you to travel to get it. Get your passport and get it now. It's good for 10 years. So if this is March and if you're not traveling to October, get your passport now. Get it now. It's you're not going to miss out on nothing. Get it down, because a lot of people are trying to get their passports. But I don't want to see you in another country and you can't get home because you don't have your passport. That also being said, have insurance. Travel insurance is key. Not only is it an investment for your journey to protect yourself, but if you get sick somewhere and you need medical attention, and the medical attention that you're getting somewhere else is not conducive to what your needs are, you need to be able to get home to your own doctor. So get that insurance. It's an investment. You've already paid so much for your trip. You're gonna already pay so much. Pay a little bit more and get that information. I wanted to touch bases on medical tourism, how folks are going in other countries to get augmentations of their body on the inside and the out. And it is a big thing, but you have to be careful of where you're going. And always, always, always let somebody know where you're going, when you're going, how you're going. Somebody at home to know. It may save your life. Wow. There's so much I have to share. So much. But it's certainly been a pleasure to be here with you. And I encourage you to reach out and talk to us. Talk to all of us here at the Female Solution. I appreciate all of our team. We're here to help you. So
90 seconds.
I encourage you to step up and be a part of the Female Solution. Even if you're a man, it's okay. We love you too. God bless you all. Be safe in your travels. I'm sorry I couldn't reach out to you 312-848 next time, or email me Deborah.thefemalesolution@gmail.com, and I'll be glad to have you on as a special guest the next show. Good night.
We've come to the end of our show today, but you can hear every show in the archives at www.blogtalkradio.com the female solution. You can also hear today's show on the Female Solution Facebook page. Go to www.facebook.com/the female solution. Leave your comments about today's show. You can always reach me on my website at www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com. Watch our TV shows, listen to our radio shows, order our books, and be sure to get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussion. And to our global family listening from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, Sheshe, India, Zanyaba, Japan, Arigato, Korea, Kamsamnida, Russia, Spasiba, Germany, Danke, Poland, Jirankuyo, France, Merci, Spain, Gracias, Italy, Grazie, Egypt, Shukran, Ghana, Medasi, Nigeria, Eshe, South Africa, Nyabonga, Senegal, Geret, Kenya, Asante, Israel, Toda, Pakistan, Shukriya, Afghanistan, Tashakur, Saudi Arabia, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. And may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Yes, thank you for being here. We're so appreciative of everything. And again, if there's something that we missed, we didn't get to talk to you, or you wanted to say, we love lively conversation. And travel transcends all conversations. It's the best educational platform that we could have. So I encourage you to travel. Reach out and take someone with you. Share someone. We'll be back again next week. Good night.
And there are people who are part of a powerful movement that want us to reimagine what public safety looks like. And it's why there's been conversations about the need, whether we need SROs inside schools. have every city, every community should be a welcoming community. And I'll tell you what we should do. We should make sure that we turn that building over to the community completely renovated. Wouldn't it be great if we spent $5 million in capital construction on all the schools that have been closed and sitting or rotting in communities and turn those schools over to the communities for things like alternative schools, for